This We the People News, okay? This video is without prejudice and or without recourse. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving legal advice. As usual, y'all. Why? Because I'm not an attorney. That's why, people. Jeez. How many times do I have to tell y'all? Alright, anyway. I never look straight forward. Always look around me to be able to protect myself by any means necessary. Yep. Alright, so this video is you win in stutter win in court, okay? And there's an older gentleman, and he'd been researching the hell out of this stuff, right? And I have read some of his documents, by the way. I do have first-hand knowledge of some of his documents, okay? And they are reasonably priced, okay? These are not thousands of dollars or anything like this. This is in the low hundreds. And I believe, and I may be wrong, it's been a while since I went on there and all this kind of stuff, but he gives, I believe, a free copy of what all the stuff he talks about. It's 2 or 3 pages. You go in there and read bunch of stuff and court cases and this, that, here, and there. So if nothing else, it's just an interesting read. All right. Let's go ahead and proceed forward because I really like hearing what he talks about.
Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, a walking constitution. And as I said in some other videos, a lot of exciting things going on here. The next one we have is dead bang, proof of treason in the United States Supreme Court. This looks like by a clerk of court. I can't imagine the justices, especially given the last 2 terms and the way they're headed back toward original intent, would be doing this. By the clerk of court returning a Rule 22 petition, the emergency petition I helped her friend prepare for her son. It's a long story about the case. But we had great issues to have gotten to the court to get them to summarily reverse the whole thing. And this for Rule 22 reads, that the petition shall be received by the clerk, who will file it and promptly transmit to the justice to whom it was addressed the copies. This is not optional. Yet my friend gets this back in the space of 6 days over a holiday weekend or Labor Day weekend, and even if the justices were in session, they never saw it. This is the kind of bullshit that has to stop, John Roberts. It comes back to your doorstep. If you're telling the court to do this, that's even a bigger problem. I can't believe that. If he's doing it on his own, he's doing it because he thinks under Rule 1 of the Supreme Court that he can send back documents, as he did to my good friend Adam, who wrote the best petition I've ever seen going there, 160 pages, and it got returned without the justices even seeing it because it was not, quote-unquote, in conformance with the rules. The clerk doesn't have judicial discretion like that. Now, in both cases, he's exercising the judicial power of the United States without having been appointed by the president or being confirmed by the Senate. And there's some very interesting stories and objections on both of those issues. By the way, to find out exactly what I do and how I do it, email me, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll get back to you with some goodies on my materials. You're going to love it. But that said, this may even make the 6 o'clock news. And I can prove a hell of a lot more corruption in just about every jurisdiction in the country than this, maybe based on what's going on at the Supreme Court with an emergency petition. So we still have yet to figure out a clear way to get documents to any of the justices, let alone Chief Justice John Roberts. If any of you out there know, let me know. Email me, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I would love to hear it. In an earlier era, when I lived in Washington, D.C., or right outside there, that's where I got educated and didn't learn a damn thing of what I've learned over the course of the last 40 years. I could get down to the court, the bus, shuttle, whatever, and walk in there and do my best to get it to the justices. That's a much different situation. But with this clerk doing this, I mean, this is treason, and there are serious penalties for that. Has to stop. So we will see what develops. I'll keep you posted in upcoming videos on this. But it's mega important because it reflects all the treason going on in your local jurisdictions, where they won't file documents and you get them back, or they received them. And by the way, received is not filed. It's not formally before the court. The clerk doesn't have any authority to do that either. And here's a dead bank quote, by the way, from the U.S. Supreme Court on this subject matter. The Constitution gave to each person the right to present their case to the court of the nation. No matter how small the claim nor how little interest the community in its outcome, the framers of our Constitution thought it important in the interest of justice to create a tribunal as superior to influence in which that claim might be decided. What's happened in the last 200 years? People say, oh, that's old law, they don't use it anymore. The hell they don't. The Supreme Court itself has referred to this case a couple of times in the last couple of years, especially the case of Texas v. California. And I'll talk more about that later, but if they understand Cohen, they know exactly what's going on. And what looks like a two-justice dissent by Alito and Thomas is really at least 5 or 6 of them. They told the Trump appointees, for whatever reason, to stand down on this case. I don't know why. Roberts is kind of a quasi-conservative liberal at times, and we might be picking up Elena Kagan on a couple of cases too. We don't know. We don't need her, but we don't know about that. But it's exciting times. They're acting like a judicial court for the first time in 90 years. We have a real chance here to invoke our rights and get our Constitution back, get our government back. No one's saying it was perfect, but it's only the best government ever created, and we can move ahead from here and make changes consistent with the Constitution, not in contravention of it. That's how exciting this is. For more information, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com, and I'll send you information on the goodies I have and how inexpensive they are. You're going to love every bit of it. Because you can get out there, do the same thing, teach your children and your posterity how to do it. And that helps cut out all this divide and conquer BS they've been doing for the last 150 years. And the quicker we do that, the quicker we get them off our back. Thank you.
There you guys go. Better look at it right there. Like I said, I have read some of his documents, and they are really good. If nothing else, if you guys don't need to use them in court, it is a good learning material. Okay? It does bring up a bunch of court cases that you guys can also look at. Alright? And he's been fighting this for a long time, y'all. And his main agenda right now is trying to get our Constitution back on track again. That's what his agenda is before he passes on. He don't believe that it's going to happen before he passes on, but he's definitely trying really hard to do so and try to get our country turned back around where it's supposed to be. And I'm with him. It seemed to me the last good couple of years, they actually been doing a pretty good job on the Supreme Courts. Now, that being said, I think a lot of these things they are denying, like asset forfeiture, they've been denying that. Well, they still want government to have control, which is unconstitutional. And why they're denying it? Because they still want government control, right? Let's see, qualified immunity. Okay, yeah, they still want their sovereign citizen immunity, and that's unconstitutional. Okay, even with the first Supreme Courts, fuck, I can't remember what it was called, but a man against Georgia, right? The man won the case. However, right after that, Congress came out with the 11th Amendment and gave the state sovereign immunity. Well, that's unconstitutional. And the Supreme Courts need to come back and say, no, no, no. That 11th Amendment is unconstitutional. You do not have more powers than the people. If you have sovereign immunity, that means the people have sovereign immunity, which we do. They just ignore ours. Alrighty. Because remember, the way I see this, y'all, if my neighbor beside me is sovereign, and I am sovereign, then I have no more rights than my neighbor has no more rights than I do. And yet, we both have more rights than the government. Why? Because they are part of an entity. Okay? We are above them. We are the governed. Alright? They cannot have that. They don't like it. And they don't like that we can actually sue the state. Alright? Side note. Since the state decided to be a corporation, and you're still allowed to sue the corporation, we need to start actually suing the corporation state, not the government state. Just saying. Thinking outside the box. Never look straight forward. Always look around you to be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Okay? Bye, y'all.